has the tricks.
I have the white balance.
I don't want to say anything about how pale you are or anything, but.
Yeah, just turn it on.
It's on. Can you hear me? Or can you see me levels?
80% to what it needs to do.
Now can you see my levels?
90%. I ran out of space.
You good?
Oh, okay. We're good.
I will just start with the old say and spell your name for me and what you did.
Dan Cugnet, C-U-G-N-E-T, and Chairman of Valley Views, George. And your name, sir?
Matt Cugnet, M-E-T-T-C-U-G-N-E-T.
Brothers?
Yes, President of Valley View Petroleum.
Now, I understand that you two gentlemen came up with the idea for the...
This gentleman.
Or this gentleman.
I'm his cheerleader.
Okay. You came up with the idea for this well completion and cleanup project that the Premier is now kind of presenting to the federal government. I guess it would cost about $156 million, something like that. Tell us about where that idea came from and what I guess led you to promote that with the Premier.
Well, we've been in talks with our local MLA, Dustin Duncan, in terms of what could be done to maintain employment and activity levels here in southeast Saskatchewan. And there wasn't much appetite for value creation right now, solely because the wells, any new wells or new drills wouldn't be economic. So the question was, how can you employ people while creating value for the citizens of Saskatchewan?
And you've estimated the cost at around 155?
Not myself. I believe the Ministry of Energy and Resources has done those calculations.
Okay. And essentially, just to recap it, I mean, obviously you're looking at taking wells that have either been abandoned, that are basically past their useful life, and I guess capping them, cleaning up the site, that type of thing. And you're looking at what, maybe 1,000 wells, something like that?
I believe that's what the ministry calculated, yes. Okay. And it's to accelerate the cleanup. Industries currently, ourselves included, are actively abandoning a certain amount of wells each year based on cash flow.
Right.
The point or intent of the program was to accelerate that cleanup, to create the employment today, get the money into the economy and create that value immediately, rather than waiting 5, 10, 15 years for it.
And the price point is lower right now, too.
Yes.
Right. And it's fair to say that you'd be employing maybe about 2,000 or so?
Not ourselves personally, but throughout the province of Saskatchewan. I think they estimated on the low end 1,200. But our own well abandonments in the last 2 years, we've averaged about 83 people per well. So, and now those aren't permanent jobs, it's on brief sojourns, but on a continuous well abandonment program, they looked at 1,200 full-time employment positions.
Now, some critics have said, look, this is a kind of a subsidy to the oil industry. They should be cleaning these things up. Why should the taxpayer be doing this? What's your response to that?
It's along the same lines as the intervention economics with Bombardier or a pulp mill or fishing. It's about creating employment more than anything. Ultimately, any dollar that goes into this program is paid out to service companies or wages. So there's no net economic benefit to oil companies.
And the industry is cleaning them up. It's just going to take them.
Right. Yeah. So, and because with the oil prices being what they are, the incentive to clean them up is a lot less, which is a lot less money.
The till's empty.
Right.
There's not a lot of money.
Now, sorry, regulations would require you to clean them up eventually, though,
yes.
right?
Yes. Yeah.
So this is, as you say, just accelerating the process.
Yes.
Yes. And I guess if I can add some color on that, a big part of this as well is methane reduction. As the Paris Accords in the last 6 months, a significant contributor to Saskatchewan's global greenhouse gas emissions are methane from suspended wellbores. Now, those wells might be economical, or a company may wish to retain them, but this program will incentivize retiring that wellbore quicker, so that there is less greenhouse gas emissions on that timeline of 5, 10, 15, 20 years. So, and the University of Waterloo put out a study, I believe in 2013, detailing that net contribution to Canada's greenhouse gas, and actually citing the federal government's involvement as an essential step in accelerating the cleanup.
So you feel that the federal government has kind of a responsibility then in terms of reducing GHG emissions, that methane and other GHGs are becoming out of it?
Yes, there's a cost associated with reducing greenhouse gases at any level of industry. So in the meantime, this is going to be creating employment, reducing reducing the greenhouse gases. And both the federal and provincial government have been a partner in oil and gas development for over 80 years in the province of Saskatchewan and 140 years in Ontario. And so there can be an argument made that, you know, we've never taken any sort of subsidies, we've never asked for a bailout, but right now it's such a critical time in terms of keeping employment up.
How many employees would you be putting towards this project if it was approved?
We're actually done our abandonment obligations, and so this is more just for our friends and neighbors and getting them back to work.
It's worth noting too, I think, you know, everybody equates the oil and gas industry in Western Canada, and it started, you know, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Ontario. So I'd be curious to know, and there's active oil fields there still, right? So when we talk about these old well bores, where people know where they are, or some of them that they don't even know existed, you know, how many are in Ontario and Quebec? And are they looking at this issue there? Because this isn't just a Western Canadian thing, this is a Canada thing. So.
New Brunswick has 6 wells leaking out into the harbor.
You're saying it's being done for economic reasons, but there's a big environmental benefit by it.
Yeah, and it's a win-win, and why I think Dustin made a point of taking it up to the provincial level is ultimately we're going to have a nicer place that we all live in. The province is going to be a little bit safer in terms of methane gas emissions and potential contamination. And in the meantime, it's getting people back to work.
Why pay people to stay at home? Mm-hmm. You know, plain and simple.
Must have been quite a trip to come up with an idea, though, that went all the way to the Premier.
It's been not a lot of fun standing in front of a bunch of cameras and microphones, but we just hope, you know, there's been a lot of support locally, and you know, part of the problem is the oil industry is individuals. There's not a large lobbying effort, and you know, in talking with people locally, there's nobody really representing the person who's out of work, and so you know, we've asked people to write their support, but you know, compared to auto workers, which has an organized, you know, CAW and a lobbying effort, I don't think most people realize that it's just individuals, it's neighbors, it's friends, and it's family who are just trying to provide, and all of a sudden, you know, due to forces beyond the province or the country's control, they're out of work and they're not able to make
oil's
the mortgage
tarnished
payments.
with a wide rush too, but you know, these microphones are made from petroleum products, our clothes are made from petroleum products, our currency is made from petroleum
And I'm
products.
assuming you all pedal down.
But it's everybody's more than happy to stand up and attack the petroleum industry, and it's what makes the world run, whether we like it or not, you know, at this point. And I was just reading a thing 2 days ago, the equalization payments Alberta's made to the federal government in the last 15 years is $200 billion. You know, that's paying for hospitals and schools and all those things that we need, right? And the money just doesn't come from nowhere. So
A minute ago you said that the outlook was bleak. Yeah.
we laid off some more people this morning,
And
which is an awful thing to ever be in a position to have to do. You know?
where are you at in terms of reductions, percentage-wise, in your own company?
We're involved with different service companies and E&P companies, but it's a day-to-day basis, right? Week by week, month by month. So we're entering breakup right now.
Right.
So it's you know, when you go in with road bans at the start of March, you've got drilling rigs, service rigs. A lot of this activity isn't taking place, and with the drilling side of things last year, and that was at a price point of $40 to $60. We stopped the first week of March. We weren't going again till the end of July. So a lot of these people aren't considered unemployed. You know, they're not working, but as I said earlier, you know, they're not making a living. So that's what this is about, is trying to get people back to work.
How many people would that be?
Which,
Well, just for on the layouts you guys have to do.
this morning there was 2 more with one of the companies we're involved with.
Okay.
60 ultimately.
Yeah, with the drilling rig company.
Yeah.
So
And I think something like 3,500, 4,000 just in the southeast corner of the province alone.
Yeah.
And as Danny noticed earlier, or mentioned, there's a distinction there that people aren't necessarily unemployed, but if there's no work, they're still actively on the roster, so they don't qualify for employment insurance, which is part of the problem I'm sure the provincial government will have, is that these people who, in the meantime, the bills are piling up, they don't have an opportunity for assistance at any of the federal levels as it's structured right now.
Thanks, guys.
Well, good luck. Thank you very much.
thanks for coming down. We didn't know we were in a scrum again today.
We would address it.